Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. So we can start our event. Dear friends, it is my great honor to open this event with the most topical and thought-provoking theme, growing local economy. But first, I would like to most sincerely thank you all for joining us today. Given the program and the most eminent speakers, I can promise you more than a stimulating and exciting journey today. As the host of the meeting, allow me please to briefly introduce myself. My name is Marijana Dojčinović. I am a member of the Rotary Club Belgrade Skadarlija, district 2483, Serbia and Montenegro, as well as a member of the Rotary Synergy Europe Alliance. Over the past several years, my work has been focusing on the international collaboration within the Rotary organization. That is also why I would like this meeting to have an interactive, dynamic, and productive atmosphere among all the guests and the speakers. Such a framework could, I believe, only strengthen our friendships and relationships. And certainly, also because of the topic, meeting calls for an open, interactive attention. In harmony with such a background, I would especially like to thank Linda Gepsler and Urs Herzog on their trust and confidence in my ability to initiate productive partnerships and collaborations. I sincerely hope and believe that through the synergy of our eminent speakers and other guests, we shall be unable to explore and explain different aspects of the main topic and at the same time initiate new ideas. After playing the Synergy Europe video, it will be my great pleasure to introduce PDG Urs Herzog, the Synergy Europe Chair. And now I want to announce the Rotary anthem. Although it is impossible to adequately describe and summarize Urs Herzog's biography, one cannot escape the impression that as a combination of his professional career as a surgeon from Switzerland and his admirable leadership roles in Rotary International, his heart and his mind have found an ideal realization in his many health-driven, critically important projects in Africa and India as well. Urs, the virtual floor is now yours.
Thank you very, very much. It's great to be with you, Mariana, and I am really very much delighted about your introductory film, your words, and I'm pleased to speak to you as president of the board of Synergy Europe. I welcome you all to our today's joint online meeting entitled Growing Local Economy. Today we are hosted by your district 2483, Serbia, Montenegro, and in special by the today's master of ceremony, you, Mariana Dojinovic. As a member of Rotary Club Belgrade Skadarlija. Belgrade is a capital of the Southeast European country in Serbia. Our today's honorable hosts are District Governor Zorica Jestrovic, Governor nominee Alexandra Radojic, Drasko Ragonovic as actual president of the host club, and Vladimir Markinovic as the president of the Serbia-American Friendship Congress. Today's theme, growing local economy, is a core topic all over the world. Since quite a long time, one of Rotary's area of focus is community economic development, CED. Nearly 800 million people live on less than $1.90 a day. Rotary members are passionate about providing sustainable solutions to poverty. Rotary members train people to become resources for their community, offering networking activities, advice on new business development, and mathematics and financial management training. Today, we have the great pleasure and honor to welcome our today's keynote speakers. Our trustee and good friend, Deanne Roars from Canada, unfortunately had to cancel her participation because she has an accident and had to undergo a surgical intervention. She excuses herself. We all wish her a speedy recovery and all the very best. Gives us a general overview of general impacts. Our main keynote speaker today is PDG Nick Franklin, as the chair of the Rotarian Action Group for Microfinance and Community Development, an organization assisting Rotarians around the world in applying the principles of microfinance to assist underserved and low-income individuals, create successful, sustainable businesses, and becomes financially self-sufficient. After these presentations, PDG Jamil Muhammad, I hope so, District 4H3 Lebanon will present his July's topic, Youth in Rotary. On behalf of all members of Synergy Europe, I express my sincere thanks to our today's keynote speakers and the team from Serbia and Montenegro for their work. Dear friend Mariana, now the floor is again yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Urs. That was great introduction. It is my great pleasure to introduce District Governor nominee Aleksandar Radojičić, a member of the Rotary Club Belgrade Skadarlija, who will give a short address and introduce our district. I need to mention that District Governor Zorica Jestrović has unfortunately been prevented from joining us today. I am, however, greatly honored and pleased to welcome PDG Professor Dr. Bane Ranđelović. Thank you very much for being with us, Professor Ranđelović. And now, Alexander, the virtual floor is yours.
Thank you, Mariana. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Dear governors, dear Rotarians, Rotaractors, dear friends from Rotary Synergy Europe, lectures, guests, it's my great honor and pleasure to greet you on my own behalf and on behalf of District Serbia and Montenegro 2483. Also, I would like to thank the representatives of Rotary Synergy Europe for the opportunity for our district and our club, Rotary Club Belgrade Skadarlija, to host such as an important event with an extremely interesting, inspiring topic. I'm Aleksandar Radojičić, past president of Rotary Club Belgrade Skadarlija, and I'm district governor nominee in our district. By profession, I'm a master of economics, and the most important of this, I'm father of two daughters, Simona and Anastasia. Something about Rotary in Serbia, Montenegro, and Yugoslavia. Back in 1927, the Rotary Club Belgrade was established in the Kingdom of Yugoslavia. The founder was Dr. Vojislav Kujundžić, and the charter president was Ferdinand Gramberg. The development of Rotary organization was interrupted in 1941 when World War II began, and the Rotary International terminated all clubs in ex-Yugoslavia. After years and years of communism and war, Rotary was refounded in 1992 when Rotary Club Belgrade continued operations. One of the refounders was our PDG, Dragan Brajer. Today, our district of Serbia and Montenegro consists of 67 clubs, 3 satellite clubs, and more than 1,200 members. As of July 1st, we are adding our Rotaractors, 280 leaders, young leaders in 26 clubs. 70 clubs are 100% Paul Harris Fellows, and among us are 13 major donors. We are very proud of the thousands of projects of our volunteers and clubs, especially on a large number of global grants that we have implemented in the last few years in amount of over than $1 million. Clubs all over the planet have been our partners. In several global grants, USAID was Rotary partner too. Our clubs have also worked on projects of other clubs in different districts and countries, which makes our organization so unique and so strong. Now I would like to say some words about our today's topic, a growing local economy. Regarding today's topic, I think it is extremely important because our economy is in the development phase and the GDP is still at a low level. The experience that our friends from Europe and America will share with us today is of great importance to us. Rotary can help advance the local economy through projects and collaboration with other associations. Just about a month ago, we signed an agreement on cooperation with the Union of Employers of Serbia. As ambassador of Union of Employers in Rotary District 2483, I'm very proud of beginning of this collaboration. As the leading spokesperson of the economy in the Republic of Serbia, the Serbian Association of Employers stands for the principles and values contained in one strong idea: strong economy, strong Serbia. Strengthening the local economy and competitiveness is a priority for current and future generations. I'm sure that Rotary and the Serbian Association of Employers will work in synergy in these goals in order to promote development of the local economy. Thank you again for your attention, and I wish us successful and constructive event. Mariana, the floor again is yours.
Thank you very much, Alexander, for the great speech. And now, please, I would like Professor Aranđelović, if he can join us and introduce.
Yes, thank you, Mariana. For beginning, I would like to say thank you to Mariana and to organizing club, Rotary Club Belgrade Skadarlija, for this nice opportunity to attend this meeting and to speak. Having in mind that Alexander said almost all important things about our district, I will just connect to his speech and to tell you all that in our districts, most of biggest projects and global grants were always oriented to medical issues or to education. And we didn't have until now so much work regarding sustainable development and local economies. I see this meeting as a good introduction to share with other Rotarians in our districts and wider, and to pay attention to that part, to that area of focus of Rotary International, and maybe in future to have some grants that are improving local economies and sustainable development. So thank you, Mariana, for this opportunity and for organizing this meeting. And I am really happy to hear our next speakers.
Thank you very much, Vanya. I would like to point out that the realization of this event has been generously and wholeheartedly supported by the president of the Rotary Club Belgrade Skadarlija, Draško Roganović. After Draško's welcome address and opening remarks, we will have a great pleasure to hear the address of our dear friend Mersiha Resulbegović Mavrić, a Rotary Synergy Europe member and Rotary Club Ulci from Montenegro. Draško, the floor is yours.
Hi, Mariana. Thank you for the floor. And also I'm thanking to all the participants today, especially to Mr. Herzog, but also for the nominee governor and the past district governor in our district, but also to all members of Rotary Synergy and all members of Rotary and Rotary clubs. I will take just a few minutes of your time, and I will try to present some of the activities of our club, since we are the host club, let's say, of this meeting. It will be, I hope this will be interesting for you. And just a few basic information. Our club will celebrate 15 years of its existence, of its chartering in November of this year. And we have 35 members, and we are among the largest clubs in our district. In our district, there is no great number of big clubs. As you can see, since we are with 35 members, one of the biggest ones, it is clear, but still we are very proud on this fact, and we like also to grow and to further support all the activities in the district. We are the club that had first global grant above $100,000 in our district, and also we have a district governor-elect, that nominee, sorry, that you have seen just a few minutes ago. Our key areas of focus are disease prevention and treatment, water and sanitation, maternal and child health, and basic educational literacy. And as past district governor Baner Angelovic said, we were not until now involved in projects involving development of local economy or local community. And this is not only the fact for our club, it is something that is valid for the whole district, but we hope that initiated by this meeting, we will maybe introduce the practice and the support of projects that will be more involved in growing local economy. Also, maybe when our activities are should be said, what about our activities should be said, is that majority of benefactors are in Serbia, since we are dealing and facing lots of different problems. We felt like an obligation to let's say try to help the people that are closest to us. Two global grants that we had. One was initiated by the big floods we had here in Serbia in 2016, and two technical schools in the city of Obrenovac were damaged. So with the help of our international partners, we have obtained a 3D printer, 3D scanner, interactive tables and computers. And in this way, we help them to improve their standards of education. And in 2020, we donated a modern greenery, a greenhouse with incubators and meteorological station to agriculture school near Belgrade. And with this greenery, our goal was to motivate students to teach them to grow organic agricultural products. As I have said, those two global grants were made with our international partners, and we are proud on international relations that we have developed in our club. Mariana Dojčinović is the chair of our club committee for international relations. She's the part of Rotary Synergy, but also we have in the past years established close relationships with different twin clubs in other districts you can see over here, but also not only relationships with twin clubs, but also with other clubs in USA, Italy, Turkey, Egypt, Sri Lanka, and many other countries. We have really friends all around the world, and during the last 2 years, because of COVID, but not only because of it, we have made lots of different meetings and made lots of new friends around the world that are members of Rotary. Of course, we had face-to-face meetings with different clubs here in Europe, and also, what is most important, many different activities in our club, when we had the chance to make even better friends between ourselves, and to speak and to discuss different activities that will help our community. Of course, as any other club, we have different lectures that we are organizing. One of our main activities is fundraising activity, Wind in the Sails, when we are making yachting regatta, and we are in this way enabling scholarships for 6 children from foster care institutions. This project is now in its 5th year, and until now we have helped to lots of children, and we are very proud of it. And of course, you are very welcome to join us in the next yachting Wind in the Sails, which will be held in September in Greece. The other fundraising event that we have traditionally is Wine Night, when we are gathering finances for global grants that we are realizing, or supporting global grants of different other clubs or other clubs of our activity. And this is the activity where we had auction of different wines. And the third is the biggest action of our club, and this is the fundraising activity. It's skiing on Jahorina mountain, which is in Bosnia and Herzegovina. In this action, we are having numerous activities, and with it, we are collecting funds with for help for foster care institutions, correctional house, that we are also supporting disabled children's schools, Rotaract, homeless children's shelters, Monastery Sveta Petka, which is taking care for disabled people, also supporting other clubs and so on. And we are very proud in this activity where we are gathering more than 200 people from different districts and different clubs in the whole region, and more than this. Our two other activities are big among the biggest one for our clubs are You Can Be a Santa Claus Too, where we are making donations of Christmas presents to children in various institutions. And we are having close to 1,000 presents that are given to more than 10 different institutions in Serbia, and also water and sanitation activities and other activities that we're having. And this is just one example of the activity where we helped a family with children with kidney illness in Eastern Serbia. And this is only one example of, let's say, making an ideal match between music, poetry, and fundraising and helping someone who is in need. Regarding our future activities initiated by this meeting and the support that we have felt from Synergy Europe and the whole this topic, is that we are working now on development project of for local development that will support small producers of agricultural products that are selling on their products on green markets. We are planning to make branding on market stalls that will differ producers from traders that are appearing on the markets. And stating on this, let's say, promotional marketing activity, we will state the area from which the products are coming from, but also about the agricultural community that is producing the products themselves. So we are now in information gathering and project development process, and we will try to work on education of producers of agricultural products in selling the products with the help of sales and marketing techniques. So that was briefly about Rotary Club Belgrade Skadarlija, and I am greeting you once more and inviting Mayor Siha to take the floor.
Thank you very much. Thank you for this opportunity, Rotary Club Skadarlija. Thank you, Mariana. I am so proud to be here today. I am hello to everyone, to all Rotarians, Rotaracs, and members of Synergy Friendship Alliance Europe. I am honored to be here. I must say that we have some project that is going on here in my town, Ulcini in Montenegro. And there are that I have mentioned it before. We have some project. We have the project that is going on from 2019, and it's project Zero Waste and for end plastic. We are. This is all year going on in the schools, in the preschools. We are going every week there and doing work with the kids. Also, we have regular action of planting of seedlings of olive and pine trees and various plants which continue on the regular basis. We had also large actions of cleaning and the vast surveys of Ulcin beaches and all salt work in the Ulcin, and also we had our project of shoe boxes for the present for the new year that we give all the kids of the Montenegro, not only the Ulcin city, but all the Montenegro. And we are proud of these projects. Also that I have mentioned it before, we are we are helping the schools, and last year we had equipment of computers and all for 3 schools. This year we had also for 2 more schools in the Ulcini in town. And now we are satisfied that this plastic recycling in our town in Ulcin has been going on for a certain period. And is an ecologic aspect has been the level 2 waste collection and recyclers, which are easy to handle, are used within the whole town in our city. I have to mention, connected with this topic today, the Rotary Club of the Ulcini has begun the phase of the preparatory project of ramparts reconstruction in our old town of Ulcini. Ulcini is old town. Our old town in the Ulcini is the city funded by Illyrians, Colchinians, Venetians, and later by Ottoman. The city embroidered by so many different elements, and it's in its foundation, which make it rare and unique, and in the entire Mediterranean, and is considered one of the most beautiful regarding its natural resource. When we talk about the economy, the Ulcini is a touristic city with 2,500 people here in the town, but we have 15 kilometers of beach, we have lake, we have river, and we have more than 100,000 of olives here. And it's and because of that, we are oriented to make these ramparts of the reconstruction of the old town, because it's attractive for the tourists. When we think we can help our city, because it's the old town is economical generator of the entire city. It's a place with which represents the first sightseeing stop where the visitors of our city want to come. By sublimation of tourist offer regarding economic as well as tourist promotion, it has the potential to become a must as sightseeing location for all tourists who visit our city. There are a lot of things which can be offered with the, within the walls of the old town, like souvenir shop, jewelry stores, tailoring and design shops, art galleries. Economic sustainability may also be valorized by encouraging local population to offer local olive oil and our local wine, etc., etc. I think this is that we are. I think this. I have say what is primary for this year for our club, and I think that we, with this project, we can help a lot of our city. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, my dear friend, for this fantastic introduction. Dear guests, it is an immense pleasure to announce our keynote speaker, Nick Frankel, past chair, Rotary Action Group for Community Economic Development from the United States. Apart from his most impressive work on the Rotary International projects, as well as his remarkable leadership, Nick is a major donor and patron, and his project and influence have reached Mexico, Honduras, and South Africa. All of his projects are the greatest example of the most effective Rotary humanitarian work. It is my great honor and pleasure to give the floor to Nick Frankel.
Thank you very much, Mariana. And I also want to thank you for all the assistance you've given me over the last several weeks. And hopefully we've come together with a presentation that will inspire and inform everybody on this call. I also bring you greetings from Dean Roars, trustee, who would much rather be here than where she is right now. So if you'll bear with me for a moment while I share my screen and share, and then we're going to this. We're going to do that. We're going to do that. And now hopefully you can see my screen. You can see the presentation. Okay. First of all, let me say good morning from Southern California, which is where I live. I want to thank you very much, and especially Mariana and Urs for inviting me to spend this time with you to talk about community economic development, growing local economies, and how together we can eliminate poverty by empowering people. As has been mentioned, I'm the immediate past chair of the Rotary Action Group for Community Economic Development, a global organization that is a source of knowledge and expertise to help Rotarians plan, implement, and manage impactful and sustainable economic development projects that create lasting change in poor and underserved communities. The key words are impactful and sustainable. Impactful. What are the changes in the beneficiary community financially and socially? Suppose the community needed water. The project was successful because it provided clean water to every member of the community. But now the question is, what is the impact? How many children are now able to go to school because they don't get sick? How much time is saved because women don't have to fetch water? And how was it used? Sustainable. How do we ensure that the benefits will continue long after the initial project sponsored by Rotary has been completed? For the next few minutes, I'd like to share some of the lessons we've learned in helping to build entrepreneurial opportunities around the world, and also some examples. In 2015, the United Nations created 17 Sustainable Development Goals to be achieved by 2030. The #1 goal is the elimination of poverty everywhere. And while poverty had been decreasing worldwide, the challenge we face today is that the coronavirus pandemic is projected to send 150 million people back into poverty. Community economic development comes in many shapes and sizes. And the only way to find out how to uplift a community's economy is to complete an assessment of the community's needs and evaluate the best options for addressing the highest priority needs. If you go in and ask the questions, you may actually find that in some cases, the economy may be second to other priorities in the community, and we need to respect that. When we think of community economic development, the first thing that often comes to mind is capital investment. Capital may be needed, but it is often not the most important element in starting or sustaining an entrepreneurial business. There are actually 6 pillars that support a successful and sustainable community development project. As I mentioned, all projects begin with a community assessment. What are the economic and cultural characteristics of the community? What are its needs? What are the business opportunities and markets? The goal of the assessment is to confirm that economic development is a high priority. The community is receptive to the idea of business creation, and there is opportunity available to support new entrepreneurs. The most important pillar of any community economic development project is education. Education provides the entrepreneur with basic business skills and supports creation of a business plan that then becomes the roadmap for what is needed to start and to sustain the business. And in fact, we found in some instances that education is all an entrepreneur needs to understand how to create the business, or they may decide after education, they really don't want to go into business. Capital provides the resources needed to support the business plan. It can be in the form of money, equipment, services, or human capital. In every case, there needs to be sufficient capital available at the time scheduled to support initial business investment and a method for managing its use. A mentor is probably the second most important pillar. A mentor is a local business person who commits his or her time and knowledge to support an entrepreneur or a group of entrepreneurs from the first gleam of an idea through the creation of the business and beyond. The mentor reviews strategy and performance, helps anticipate and mitigate problems, and joins in celebrating successes. Business growth comes from adding new customers or products. Creating networking opportunities is the next logical step once a business has reached its initial goals and is looking for ways to grow. And of course, evaluation tells us how we're doing and any corrective actions that need to be made. Evaluation also provides feedback to investors and to the community beneficiaries. Knowing the specific results of the project itself, as I mentioned, are followed by determining the impact on the community, both financially and socially. A project may not require all 6 of the pillars, but they must be considered as the project is created and implemented. Let me share with you just a few of the many community economic development projects undertaken by Rotarians around the world. In 1997, the Rotary Club of Abington-Vesper in the United Kingdom initiated a project to help farmers in the Mubende district of Uganda. This initial project has gone on to impact the lives of thousands of residents, and it is now being replicated in other communities, particularly on the continent of Africa. Sowing the Seeds provides farmer training, educational support, vocational training, environmental improvements, and microcredit to farmers living in the Mubende district in central Uganda. The lead of the project is Meyer Smulders and the Rotary Club of Abington-Vespers. They've actually created a non-governmental organization called Learning for Life Africa in Uganda to provide local support for the project. As with all community economic development projects, it begins with education. Key farmer trainers are the critical element to creating improved farming, microcredit, fuel-saving stones, and school development projects. They come from different parts of Mubende to attend a one-year training course in sustainable organic agriculture and financial services. And in return for receiving free education, the key farmer trainers work as advisors to farmer groups and schools for 4 years. And their role is so important because it gives farmers, teachers, and parents access to a wealth of agricultural, environmental, and financial knowledge. The microcredit part of the project begins with an interest-free 3-year loan to a group of farmers with usually between 25 and 40 members to enable them to create a village savings group. Small 10-month loans are provided to members of the group so they can buy or rent land, pay for labor, or buy an animal or seeds. After 3 years, the initial group loan is repaid. The group, however, will still have the equivalent amount of the initial loan, so that it can continue making loans, and that loan, which is repaid, can now be used to support another group of farmers in another village. Cooking on open fires in smoke-filled kitchens causes eye damage, heart and lung disease, and harms unborn children. The World Health Organization calculates that 1 hour of cooking smoke is the same as smoking 400 cigarettes. And equally important, local women often spend up to 5 hours every day collecting firewood. Key farmer trainers assist in building fuel-saving stoves at the schools and homes. And after seeing the fuel-saving stoves, no one wants to go back to open fires. I'd like you to meet Susan. Susan borrowed 200,000 Ugandan shillings and she bought a calf, which she sold for 500,000 shillings. She paid off her loan. She bought a plot of land and she paid school fees for her children. She got a new loan and bought another calf, but unfortunately she needed money for the hospital. She sold the calf early for 400,000 shillings, but kept enough to buy another calf. This calf is already worth 450,000 shillings. Susan has learned to plan. She is more in control of her life and more secure. Susan is now an empowered woman in her community. To date, loans have been made to 135 farmer groups with almost 4,000 members and touched the lives of 250,000 people. Farmers benefit from agricultural know-how, which results in increased income, which can be used to eliminate hunger and provide for education, clean water, and farm and home improvements. The easily produced fuel-saving stoves return time to the women, improve health, and protect the environment. Let's take a look at a vocational training project in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Stolac in Bosnia and Herzegovina is made up of 3 different ethnic groups that virtually do not interact with each other. And at the time of this project, the unemployment rate for women was 85%. A Rotary Foundation grant helped create a cooperative and teach the women to grow, sun-dry, and sell tomatoes in the local economy as a means of in the local market, as a means of improving economic condition of the women and the community. The benefits: production of tomatoes increased by 20%. Additional women now want to join the cooperative. 4 new sites were set up where products were sold, and between the beginning and the end of the project, the women experienced a 20% increase in income. There was also a significant peace benefit. As women of the different ethnic groups work together in the cooperative, beginning to rebuild trust among the members of the community. When we think of microfinance projects, we often visualize a developing country where loans in small dollar amounts can lift people and communities out of poverty. But it has the same impact in the developed world. With my community suffering from the Great Recession and having participated in successful microfinance projects in other countries, local Rotarians asked, why not here? They received a $240,000 grant for microservices from the Rotary Foundation, the first one performed in a developed country. A partnership was formed with Women's Economic Ventures, a local microfinance institution with a successful track record, who hoped Rotarians confirm the target population would be low-income Spanish-speaking women in Ventura and Santa Barbara counties in California, USA. The grant focused partly on education. Since our target population spoke Spanish, half of the grant funds went to create a Spanish language curriculum, an education plan, and provide teachers. The grant also provided outreach to our Spanish-speaking target community so they could understand the opportunities available and how they could participate in the program. The other half of the grant went into a revolving loan fund, and as of June 2021, the fund had supported 35 businesses with loans totaling $359,000 and experienced a repayment rate of 97%. But perhaps most important, what is the impact on the community? These businesses are now generating more than $4 million of new taxable revenue into Ventura and Santa Barbara counties. I'd like you to meet Reina Chavez, a young Hispanic woman living with her family in Ventura, California. In 2011, Reina was working in the medical field. She found it difficult to find scrubs and thought it might be a problem for others. So she started a mobile business, bringing scrubs for sale directly to medical facilities. Her success led her to open her first store, but when she needed a loan to replenish her inventory, she couldn't go to a traditional bank. Reina came to Women's Economic Ventures, where she got one of the first loans funded by the Rotary Foundation grant. It allowed Reina to quit her job, focus on her business and her family. Reina now has 3 stores, employs 7 people, and has become a mentor to new entrepreneurs in her community. Rotary clubs across the United States are supporting community economic development projects as communities reopen and rebuild following the pandemic. As Rotarians, we're people of action. Together, we create opportunities to help individuals and communities thrive financially and socially. The Rotary Action Group has experts and best practices that can help you create successful, sustainable economic development projects in your community or in a community that you support. Now that you've heard my stories, and I said these are only a few, in the prior Rotary year, the Rotary Foundation issued $12 million worth of grants in community economic development. But now it's your turn. Find your project, change lives, so you can write your own story. For more information, you can visit our website or Facebook page, because together we can make a difference, and together we can, as Shaker Mader has asked us to do, serve to change lives. Thank you very much for the time, and thank you, Mariana, for the invitation.
Thank you very much, Nick. Your speech sets the bar high for the forthcoming speakers. Thank you again. I would like to announce our next lecturer, Dr. Vladimir Marinkovic, President of the Serbian American Friendship Congress, who has developed a long and successful career as a scholar and politician in the field of economics in Serbia. But Dr. Marinkovic could certainly add a few necessary words on his accomplishments in this area. I hand over the floor to you, Dr. Marinkovic.
Thank you, Mariana, and of course, it's a great pleasure to be with you today and all the friends from Rotary Club Belgrade and Rotary clubs from all around the world. It was a great pleasure to hear from a previous speaker about great experience and commitment of Rotary Club in the United States, about involvement in process of developing entrepreneurship spirit in the United States, investment in social and economy development of marginal groups in US. And it's of course a very, very good example. First of all, to implementing here in our region, Western Balkans, and of course Serbia. And it's very nice to hear that Rotary Club have that kind of projects all around the world. Of course, it is very important to supporting Rotary Club here in Belgrade and the Rotary clubs in Serbia about this kind of activities. And of course, it needs very good cooperation between state institution, government, ministries, parliament with Rotary clubs about this issue. I will speak some few words about Serbia experience, and it's very important topic, local economy growth and local economy development. It is one of the most important things for government of Republic of Serbia, and of course for the future of our country. And I think that it is the most important thing is making and developing good business ambience for local economic growth and development, building infrastructure, making more capital investment in our country, especially in infrastructure, highways, railways, airports, and making Serbia one of the best destination for investments in not only in region but in all of Europe. We made a lot of advances in last 8 years about our economy development. Of course, I think that we are starting 2014 with very huge economy reforms, fiscal reforms, and started to making good ambience for the domestic entrepreneurs, and of course starting to attracting more and more foreign direct investors. In last years, 2020, 21st, we as a country, as a Serbia, made more than 60% of the amount of foreign direct investments in all of region of Western Balkans. And we are very proud to say that we have more and more investments from all around the world, especially from our partners from European Union, from Germany, Italy, France, of course, United States, Middle East, Far East, and the other countries. And we will still continuing that kind of making the ambience for the new investments. It's very interesting that during the pandemic COVID-19 we are still have investors, and no one from the potential investors not quit from Serbia and from investing in our country. It was, I think, most important that we made a lot of advances, a lot of results about building infrastructure in our country, making highways, making and starting to build railways, and investing in the regional development, not only in capital, in Belgrade, and some big cities as Novi Sad in northern part of Serbia, or Niš in southern part of Serbia. It is very important that we are, as a government and parliament, equally seeing all of part of our country, and want to investing into attracting investors in all part of our country. Of course, it was a very important thing that we attracting the very, very big investors in our country, and it was a precondition to develop small, micro, and medium enterprises, and connecting them with the big investors from all around the world. For example, we have a very good results in cooperation with Germany. For example, in 2012, we had something about 22,000 people employed in the German companies. Now we have 75,000 people employed in the German companies. More than 25,000 people are employed in the companies came from United States. And of course, it was a very, very huge signal for companies from Japan, South Korea, United Arab Emirates, that Serbia is a very stable country, politically stable, committed to the regional stability, and committed to regional economy initiatives. And that kind of companies decide to invest in Serbia. It's one more interesting thing that in this a very huge crisis about war in Ukraine, about Russian invasion on Ukraine. We have a lot of companies from Russian Federation and from Ukraine came to Serbia and opening companies here because they are thinking that Serbia is a stable country and they have very good conditions to continuing their business here in our country. Of course, we will continuing about that kind of process. We can fix a lot of things, especially about in accordance about legal framework, but we made a lot of results about first of all 2 laws. It was fundamental building and construction law and the building and construction permits. It's very funny now from the distance of the 6 or 7 years that we were on the maybe I think 178 place on the world World Bank's list about construction and building permits. Now we made a lot of advances and we are now in the first 50 countries in accordance with the World Bank list about permits, about conditions, about permits for building and construction. And of course, labor law that we voted for that 2015 and relaxing the employers about employing people, about employing workers, and about their rights, of course, and in accordance the develop the business and starting the business here, develop business, and of course making better conditions for them. I would like to notice that we made some very good arrangements, strategic arrangements, especially our airline company. We made a strategical partnership with Etihad from United Arab Emirates and really become the some kind of hub in airline in this region. For example, in 2013, we had something more than 2 million people in our airport, passing through our airport. Now, in 2019, before the COVID crisis, we had more than 5 million. And of course, it was a year per year development of all of important sectors in our country, building infrastructure, making good conditions, fiscal policy, monetary policy, relaxing conditions for the new investments, good incentives for the foreign direct investors here in Serbia. And now we have a situation that we have more than 3 billion euros of investments, foreign direct investments in our country. And of course, it's very good signal and it's very good for the develop of the small, micro and medium enterprises in our country. I preparing for this meeting today and for the speech, and I heard for the Prime Minister of Serbia that we in the first 4 months of this year, we made more than 700 million euro in IT sector. It is maybe one of the most propulsive sector in our country. We make a lot of good things for our young people, high qualified people to develop their ideas in especially sector of the new technologies, innovation, and we became one of the best country for investments in information technology field in this part of the world. And of course, we will continuing with that kind of investments and making good ambience for them, because we are stopped the brain drain in our country. For example, in 2012, in 2013, we had about 40% of unemployed young people. Now we are strategically and critically declined that number. Our unemployment rate now is under the 10%. and we make a lot of opportunities for young, high qualified people to have opportunity to be employed, and of course to rising their own business and investing in there, and investing in entrepreneurship spirit development in this country. Especially it was very very huge and very hard work, because as you know, all of you, that we had a very strong heritage from the socialist time, more than 50 years of socialist economy, planning economy in our country, and it was a very, very hard work to make entrepreneurship society here in Serbia, to convince our young people to stay here in our country, to rise business here, to making startups here, to finish the faculties in universities here in Serbia, and of course making ambience for them, attracting the companies from all around the world, and they give them opportunity to stay in Serbia and to develop their ideas, innovation, and of course that investing their knowledge in their own countries. First, this is very short presentation, and I'm very thankful to Mariana, to Rotary Club of Belgrade, and to all of you that have that kind of opportunity to give a speech, and of course to have opportunity to discuss with you about local growth and local economy issues, and to see, of course, a lot of very good examples from all around the world. I saw a very good presentation from United States, and to wants to thank you, Mariana, about very, very nice film in the beginning of this meeting, and great presentation of Serbia and our capital, Belgrade. It's best PR that I've seen in last few months for our country. Thank you very much indeed for inviting me, and of course I'm with you and ready for any question and any suggestion.
Thank you very much for your great insights and contribution to this event, Dr. Marinkovic.
And we have a question. Sorry, Mariana, we have a question also for Mr. Marinkovic from Mr. Herzog. So where do you see the role of Rotary, Mr. Marinkovic, in our country? And how do you think Rotary can help in achieving all this that you have stated?
Thank you for that question. I, first of all, respecting Rotary as a very important institution and a very important part of our society, especially if we can see the activities of Rotary clubs all around the world. It's normally and logically to respecting that kind of organization and institution. And of course, it's very important to making closer ties between not only government, but state institution, and developing our cooperation in many, many fields and activities. Of course, I'm completely convinced that it has a lot of people, and a lot of people from the parliament, from the government of Republic of Serbia, especially in the other state institution. They are very ready to making closer ties with the Rotary Club and working together about humanitarian activities, local development, growth activities, and neural activities that we can making better future for our children and of course for our country, because we have a of course completely common ground and common aim to develop our country, to making better cooperation with the other countries, especially in the region, to making common initiatives, to making together and making closer our nations, especially in our countries in the neighborhood. Especially I think about Western Balkans region and Southeast European region, because as you know, we had a lot of disputes, trying to overcome that kind of disputes, first of all through the economy development, making establishing the free flow of the capital, goods, human resources and services in our region. I will mention to you and notice about Open Balkan initiative, it has very good and I think historical initiative and give the results, concrete results, not only good stories between us and what will be if we can making good and closer cooperation. We had now very good results, solidarity between first of all between Albanians and Serbs. It was not you cannot imagine that we can make that kind of cooperation if you somebody told you 2 or 3 years ago that Serbia will give wheat to Albania, to offer help, to offer support to Northern Macedonia. Major of people, I think, probably will think it's not possible, but it is possible, and I'm very thankful that you are rising that kind of topics these days, and of course of this conference today.
Great.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now, before the next speaker, the Vladimir Đurinović from Alexander Đurinović. Yeah.
I would also like to express my great appreciation to Alexander Đurinović, project manager special at USAID in Serbia, who has greatly supported this event. Thank you, Alexander.
Thank you very much. I hope you can all hear me. I was going to do it in the balcony, but the rain started, so it would be too noisy. So I'm so happy to be here with you today, and it's if one thing is good to speak, the last is that I have learned more about Rotary, and it will probably help me to frame my presentation to make it more related to your context and to your focuses. So if I can kindly ask one of your colleagues to run the presentation for me, please. And if we can go back to the, okay. So we have some slides to present the general focus of USAID Serbia, but bear with me, I don't intend to read those slides. I intend to keep them as a framework of my presentation. And again, there is no vanity on mine. Please feel free to stop me anytime you feel I'm taking you into the wrong direction, or if you need to learn more from every aspect that I will present today. Also, I understand there will be Q&A session after this, so I may remain at disposal to answer any questions from the presentation. So basically, I feel the need to just say that USAID as a US government agency is present in Serbia since 2001. And so far, we have invested a little bit less than $1 billion in different efforts aiming to promote economic growth and rule of law and democratization and governments in Serbia. Through the presentation, I will present the way we operate, our budgets, our current priorities, and share some latest results. Next slide, please. So here you see the main development objectives of USAID in Serbia, and all are presented with anticipated overall results. All of course, in accordance with the overall goal, which is to help Serbia move toward more prosperous and democratic country committed to Euro-Atlantic integration of self-reliance. Next slide, please. Few of your speakers today mentioned something that to me seems like a perfect local needs assessment. So I understand whatever Rotary does addresses needs coming from the context in which Rotary works. We try to do the same, and here you have main country context elements based on which we frame our interventions. I will put the emphasis on two elements here. One, focus on innovation-driven development. For us, that means we make more investments in what we call helping Serbia moving more towards knowledge-based economy. In our language, that means we believe that Serbia has talents, and we want to help those talents being better utilized in economic growth context. And also the other thing I would like to focus today on is we expand efforts in diversity and inclusion, because without an adequate diversity and inclusion, there is no sustainability prospects are lower than if we include these aspects too. Next slide, please. Here you have a brief overview of our funding availability. We don't need to go, this is the public information for which it is okay that I share it with you today. But basically, we have around $20 million budget per year, which is we always need more, but it is much better than it was a few years ago, which demonstrates the importance that Serbia has in global USAID's strategic plans. Next slide, please. So I did mention our development objectives. So we have two development objectives. One of them is resilience of democratic actors increased. And here you have elements that contribute to this overall objective. And next slide, please. This may look like a very USAID narrative, so I don't want to go through all of this, but basically these are the sub-elements that we see our programs will achieve after they are being implemented. Next slide, please. I'm trying to run fast through these. I understand we are almost an hour and a half of this conference, so I really not disrespecting the content, but I wanted to leave more time for questions after this. So development objective 2 is equitable prosperity increase. As you see again here, innovation economy and economic inclusion of marginalized groups. SME competitiveness and access to finance is something that we had from the very beginning of USAID's intervention in Serbia, but these elements, innovation economy and inclusion of marginalized groups, is something new when seen in context of economic growth. And also here you have environmental protection and biodiversity. This is also something new, but it reflects the US government administration. So as priorities change there, we need to adopt. Over. Next slide. Again, this is what we see our current projects in this area will achieve. And I guess there is no need to spend more time on this slide. Next slide, please. So a little bit about our result. You can run to the next slide. So here you have the latest or highlights of the latest results. As you can see, Mr. Marinkovic mentioned Serbia's progress on one of the reference lists. We can see here that Serbia jumped also dramatically on the World Philanthropic Giving Index. That's mainly supported through our crowdfunding campaigns that were done through one of the crowdfunding platforms that was created within one of our projects. We have also supported or facilitated huge amount of loans through banks to SMEs and micro enterprises. And also, as you can see, we have introduced two new financial products that did not exist in Serbia before. Next slide. Here you have a few more highlights that deal with different aspects of our work. I would like to here emphasize the investments in women-led businesses. We in USAID have an administration requirement to have a gender balance introduced in all of our projects. So we are very proud to report on the results that relate to women-led businesses. I think this is the last slide, and I only wanted to say that we see many commonalities between how we operate and values that Rotary respects in everything you guys do. So while I understand that we have already supported Rotary in different interventions, we remain at disposal to discuss further cooperation and to share our experience when it comes to what makes sense in terms of implementation and impact in Serbia. With this, I will stop. And again, I will be available for questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Alexander. As I pointed out in my introduction, I have also been led by the idea of creating an interactive event. Of course, as much as time allows us to address some of the key questions that have been raised by the speakers. I would now like to open the questions and answers. If you have a question, please raise a little yellow Zoom hand. Andrea? Andrea, can you hear me?
Yes, just a moment. Sorry. Now is everything. It's okay. It's a very pleasure to talk with the people, because this presentation today is really nice. And I have one question. Actually, I'm a president of Executive Board of Union Employers of Serbia and a member of the Rotary Club Belgrade Skadarlija. Some time ago, we signed an agreement, it's Alexander is already told, cooperation between Rotary District and Union of Employers of Serbia. And we also elected Alexander to Ambassador of Union Rotary District 2483. The elected governor, Alexander Radojcic, he mentioned this, but my question is, what is the experience if they have, and what is the experience with the cooperation Rotary and employers organization in the world? Thank you very much. Did you hear me the question?
If somebody can answer, Vladimir or Alexander.
Who wants? It's I didn't want to address to somebody. It's who wants to explain us.
I can, if you want to hear my experience. Is it okay?
Yes, yes,
and,
of course.
And I said hello to everyone. Thank you for your invitation. In last 2 years, we have as a Rotary District a very good collaboration with the USAID. We have personal contacts. They support us in 6 global grants in these 2 years. It's beautiful. It's great. Last year was 5 global grants with their support. This year only 1, but you know that the problem is in Ukraine and a lot of money are going to Ukraine. That's okay. And I hope that we will continue with this cooperation. And also we have many, many good things in this cooperation because they have good experience, very good experience. They can help us about our application and about our idea about global grant. And for me, you know that Hearts of Europe Global Grant Program is beautiful, and they are insist to have fellowships between Rotarians. And in that case, we have a very good friendship with our friends from Georgia. There was 7 people from Georgia. Rotarians was our guest in May. Just now in August, our governor, Vlada Mijailović, will be guest in Georgia. And we are waiting for them again in September 23. It is information for all of you, and I ask you to join us. They will be 7 days, because in September we will donate new 500 MBOT robots, 200 roads, and 15 kindergartens will have new equipment. All these things there support us as partner from America and USA. And I also thank you to Alexander, Jovana, Sheila, and other people from Belgrade, also from USA in Evanston. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. This part of all our events has always been more than valuable contribution to the main topic. It is now my pleasure to announce our next synergy meeting in Lebanon.
August 4, in the year 2020, an explosion hit Beirut. It destroyed a big part of it, and it caused 220 victims, 7,000 injured, displaced more than 300,000 people. As Rotarians, we did not accept to remain inactive. We decided to go on the ground, to face the problem, and to act. The Rotary Club of Zahvaljujemo, in collaboration with other Rotary clubs in Lebanon, joined hand with the Rotary actors. They made an assessment of the needs and the problems to know where we can help. The Rotary actors identified the Rosary Sisters Hospital that was located away from the explosion in about 300 meters.
After the explosion, the hospital was severely damaged, and the equipment and furniture in the floors were partially or completely destroyed. The hospital was no more functional. Our visit to the hospital was emotional, passing through the ruins, but Rotarians never stay stationary. We find a way always, or we create a way. And we started by a general assessment of the damages in the hospital, and together with the administration of the hospital, we decided that the first priority is rehabilitation of the intensive care unit. Together, Rotarians and Rotary actors decided to rehabilitate and re-equip the intensive care unit in the Rosary Hospital.
The 4th of August 2020, that day adversely changed our life forever. Really, after the explosion, we asked ourselves, who can help us? How can we go on with all this destruction? And so the members of the Rotary came and tell us, don't be afraid, you are not alone.
In order for us to be able to achieve success, as Rotarians, we started contacting Rotary clubs and districts. We reached out to Rotary International directors and district governors. The replies that we received from them was unexpected. We could collect from them about $180,000 for the civil work and for the reconstruction of the unit. We could recollect as well other $420,000 to be used in global grant applications with the Rotary Foundation to purchase the equipment of this unit. The international Rotary clubs that sponsored the two global grants were the Rotary Club of Prague International from Czech Republic and Dotigny Val d'Espierre from Belgium, in addition to other partners and districts from Dubai, Cyprus, Palestine, Belgium, Bolivia, France, Finland, Germany, Switzerland, United States of America, Sweden, Iceland, Austria, and much more.
They did as the bee. They went all over the world, from east to west, like bee who gather nectar and doing honey.
International Inner Wheel and Lebanon Inner Wheel donated syringe and infusion pumps for an amount of $20,000. The Disaster Aid Europe and Disaster Aid Australia donated the sky hydrant water filtration system for the hospital for an amount of $10,000 US. 18 new beds from Linet were also donated for an amount of $80,000. Linet company by itself donated the spare parts for the partially damaged beds in the hospital for an amount of $35,000 US. RC Zgharta donated the ultrasound machine for an amount of $13,500. The total amount of donations in the hospital amounts to $665,000.
The challenges that we faced were big and huge. We had the COVID pandemic with its continuous lockdown. We had the weather conditions, the road cutting, and the protest due to the political situation. Despite that, Rotarians could make this dream happen because of their cohesion, unity, commitment, dedication, and perseverance. Defying all these challenges, now we can announce proudly that the intensive care unit of the Rosary Hospital is complete. It is brought again to life. Appreciation to all the districts, the Rotary clubs, Rotarians, Rotary actors, inner wheelers, to the inter-country committees, to the Rotary action groups, to the Disaster Aid Europe, and to all those individuals who contributed for the success of this project.
Following the devastating explosion that ripped the heart of Beirut, Rotary actors from all clubs of Lebanon took immediate actions and went down the street to support the people who were affected by the blast. They started by removing the rubble from the street and the affected houses and assessing the needs, which led to the launch of ongoing provision of basic necessities to more than 2,000 families and the reconstruction of 32 houses in the affected area with the support of international Rotary and Rotaract clubs. Once again, Rotary and Rotaract proved with their collective effort that they are people of action and that they are capable of creating change in this world, not only by working together, which is allowing them to grow stronger, but also by empowering the communities they are in.
Really, I appreciate the help that they gave us, and we feel much better than ever before after the explosion and after their help. In my name, but even in the name of the doctors, the sisters, the patient, and the personnel, I thank them. And I promise them that we'll pray for them, to asking God to shower on them all His graces.
Rotarians and Rotaractors are people of action. By action, we create lasting change in our communities. Paul Harris, the founder of Rotary, said, "Whatever Rotary may mean to us, to the world, it will be known by the results it achieves."
I believe that the event today has triggered new questions and has inspired new ideas. Needless to say, all suggestions and proposals regarding various forms of collaboration on developing local economies would be immensely appreciated. To me, this event has been a great challenge and an even greater pleasure to organize. My special thanks go to my district, as well as the most amazing support of the whole team on making this event happen. Special thanks also go to Draško Roganović and Dušan Goločevac for their generous help on the realization of this event, and to our district governor nominee, Aleksandar Radojčić. I owe one huge thank you. At this point, for the long-awaited closing remarks, with a great pleasure, I would like to give the floor to Linda Gepsler, Vice Chairman, Synergy Europe Alliance, one of the most prominent members of the Rotary Club from the Philippines and Germany. It is an honor to hand over the floor to you, Linda.
Thank you, Mariana. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, dear fellow Rotarians from all over the world. On behalf of the Synergy Board Europe, thank you again to the District 2483 and to the Rotary Club of Skadarlija, most especially to you, Mariana, for this inspiring and informative event. And thank you for all the efforts you have given to this event. I just want to invite you again to Lebanon. Then there is a significant topic which is very important to us. And this is the topic of Lebanon Synergy Europe event on July 23, which is the youth in Rotary. As you know, tomorrow's global leaders could be the teenagers of today. And there are the adults, young adults, and their actions will significantly shape the world's future as well as of Rotary. Kindly join us again on July 23 in Lebanon, which will be hosted by Rotary Coordinator of Zone 21B, Jamil Muabad of Rotary Club Sagata Sabi. Thank you for your loyalty in joining us, in joining our monthly events of Synergy Europe, and in the capacity of being the Vice Chairman of Synergy Europe, I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Linda. Once again, before the official end of this session, I would like to thank you all for making me part of a wonderful team and for your participation in all our joint efforts. And finally, I would like to thank our guests and our fascinating lecturers for making this event so great and successful. The session is closed. I wish to see you all soon at our next event. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. See you.
Take care. Bye.